fall is here. So let's go ahead and make a beautiful jewelry set with glass-like fall leaves that shimmer and sparkle with the last of summer's sun rays. First, get your skeleton leaves and put them two together, and then cut them in a smaller shape, because the way that they come, they are way too big to be used for earrings. You can use a whole leaf just for the pendant now. The best way to cut them equal is to arrange them central vine by central vine. All you have to do is to put little drops of paint, and I am going to show you 3 different options. Of course, you can use way more than this. I'm using first the Lumiere paints, and then I will be using the cheapo acrylic paints, and then the more expensive Daler Rowney acrylic inks. But all you need to do is to put their drops, and then after you have placed your drops, simply first get the drops fixed in place, spread in place, and then clean your brush and go back and mix them. After which you need to lift your leaves from the wax paper. It's the best thing to do that on a wax paper, because otherwise as they dry they will get stuck on the wax paper, and those skeleton leaves are very delicate, so they would rip if you try to remove them like that. And actually as they dry, you want from time to time to lift them from the wax paper to make sure that they don't stick as they dry. And then you can use the same wax paper to paint the pendant, because in this I'm going to make a pair of earrings and a pendant. And the same way, just place the drops of paint, then spread the paint from the drops, and then simply clean your brush and then mix a little bit. If you think you need more touches of color, just apply 1 or 2 more drops where you think you need more touches of color. Make sure that your leaf is fairly loaded with paint. It's okay to have paint stay in the little eyelets of that netting that forms the skeleton leaf, because it gives more realistic aspect, like your earrings are actually made out of real leaf skeletons encased in glass. Now here, as you can see, I am using the extreme sheen and some Folkart metallic acrylic. The metallic acrylics do a much better job. Generally, pearlescent metallics will make the whole thing look much prettier. And you apply them the exact same way. First make a few islands of color, and after which you gently mix the colors together with a clean paintbrush. And then you use the same wax paper to paint the pendant leaf, the one that you don't cut smaller, and you paint it the exact same way. Next, I will be showing you how to do it with inks. Here I'm using the more expensive Daler Rowney, but you can use the regular alcohol inks. The only thing is that when you use inks or a type of paint that is more watery, you will actually have to pat them dry a little bit. Otherwise they would be way too loaded with liquid, because you know, water and that strange force that is in the water, that will make it really cover up all the little eyelets of the netting that forms the fake leaf skeletons. And you do the exact same way. If you think that they got a little bit too dark, all you have to do is to just apply a little bit more of the lighter ink But again, you do the same. You put them on a separate sheet of wax paper, and before that, as I said, dry them. You can even pat them a little bit dry to remove all the excess liquid that is there, so they would still stay transparent, because that's the whole idea, to make them glass-like. And you do the same for the pendant. Now, once all your painted leaves are dry, you can get to the next step. For the next step, I think I didn't try yet. I think you probably could do it with mean wax, but I didn't try it with mean wax. I tried it with Tiny Pandora's Deep Shine, because it is a very liquidy UV type varnish, gel, resin, however you want to call it, and it will uh, practically, because as you can notice, the leaves get a little bit warped because they get wet, um, and the resin will keep them, the deep shine will keep them a little bit flat. They will still warp a little bit, and that is okay, because you can still apply the UV resin afterwards for that. But in this first stage, first cover the whole leaf with the deep shine, and be very careful to cover the whole leaf all the way to the very edge. That is very, very, very important. And the paintbrush that Teresa Salgado provides in the kit is absolutely fabulous for that, because even if it is quite big, you have a lot of control with the edge, with the tip of it, and you can go very, very nice. Now, if you get over the edge, don't worry, because you can very easily clip the excess with a pair of cuticle scissors without damaging the leaf, without damaging anything. Then, of course, you need to cure your leaf in the UV lamp, but if you want to add a little bit more bling to it, before curing it in the UV lamp, and even if normally UV resin and varnish, if you put any kind of glitter or inclusions, it will not cure properly under the glitter or inclusion, because obviously it's a light curing resin, so if whatever resin is in the shadow of something, it will not cure properly. In this case, it's okay, because after you do one part, you will turn it on the other side and it will still cure. What I am using here, I found that the American Body Art holographic gold glitter is one of the finest and most delicate glitters, holographic glitters, that I have tested, at least that I have tested. You probably might have something else, but I really love this one because it is very fine and it gives all that iridescence. Now, when putting it on, do not lift any. Just whatever you want to use, dip it in the little pouch, and don't, make sure that you don't have anything lifted, like if you would want to get like a scoop. Just simple, lift it from the pouch, whatever tool you're using, and then shake it over the leaf, because that way you will get very delicate sprinkling of glitter. You will not get any kind of massive glitter spillage on any place. You'll just get a powdering of glitter if you want. I don't know how to explain it otherwise. And then once you do that, you cure it. The second step is to apply UV resin. Now, why I prefer the UV resins from China and Japan for this one is that even if they are self-leveling, they are not super doming, so they will not pull on the edges too hard. And this is the reason why you apply first the deep shine. because otherwise if you would apply directly the UV resin, even if it has less pool, let's say, than the Ultra Dome or the Lisa Pavelka Magic Gloss, it still has quite a bit. So if you'd apply it directly on the skeleton leaf, it will warp and roll up. So that's why you want to apply first the deep shine, so that the leaf will still have some kind of flatness. And after you cure the deep shine, after that you apply the resin. And again, you have to make sure that you apply it all the way to the very edges. Now, number one, because the leaf will still be a little bit warped, do not worry about that, because you can, first of all, you can cover those warps later. You can fill those areas with more resin. But another thing that you can do, and I will show you here in a minute, is to add veins. And sorry for the hair, but I kind of had to see what I was doing there. For the veins, I am using a product that is made by the Sakura company, and it is a 3D crystal lacquer. And I will do in a little while more tutorials with this product. I found it by chance at a local bead store, and I absolutely fell in love with it. It has a needle applicator that can be attached, and it's as clear, almost as clear as a resin. And I will show you soon how to do another faux enamel with it, and also some other things, because of the fact that it can be applied in such fine and delicate strands. You can do a whole bunch of stuff with it, and it doesn't require a UV lamp, it doesn't require baking, doesn't require anything. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes to dry to the touch, and about an hour to fully cure. And it can be used on many things, and it can also be used as a glue, actually. I am not sure if it can be baked. I did send an email to the Sakura Hobbycraft, and I'm waiting for their response, but as soon as I find out, I will tell you. Now, as you can see, I applied the UV resin on the earrings, and now I am applying it on the pendant leaf. I wanted to show you the full process for at least one pair of earrings and one pendant, and my hair keeps getting in the way. I am so sorry for that, but hey, you know, it's in full colors, yay. But anyway, so after you apply the resin, of course, you cure it. And let me show you how you remove them. You need to use the mirrors, because you can lift them off the mirror very nicely. All it takes, you'll see on this one, it takes a little bit longer to remove it. You have to find, there will be one point where you can put your X-Acto knife or blade underneath and gently push upwards and to the side. The moment you find that point, and here it would have been easier if I would have used the sharp edge of the blade, not the dull one. But anyway, you'll see the moment I find that point, it pops right off. And again, if you get any kind of drip or anything, you can very easily file that away. As for whatever is left on the mirror, you see how it popped right away as I found the spot. For whatever is left on the mirror, it can very easily be scraped with your X-Acto knife until your mirror stays clean. So no danger of not being able to use the mirror anymore. You can just scrape it off, clean the mirror, and you can reuse it. Now, talking about all that veining, the only problem that I saw, and you can see I'm turning it on the other side, and I will apply a second coat of UV resin on the other side of the leaf. And you can see on the larger one, I do have two areas where there was some spillage underneath, so the raised part of the leaf did not get, has a like a dent there, and that you can cover whenever you apply the resin on the back, or if it happens in the front, you can do that in the front and it's just fine. Another thing you can do is, if you have a UV flashlight, you can do it by just simply holding the leaf in such a way that all that area that otherwise is warped will be horizontal. So as soon as you get the resin to stay put, you can put it afterwards in the UV lamp. And this is actually how you can make even curved surfaces, you can cover them with resin just by simply using a flashlight, UV flashlight. So once you do the leaves on both sides with the UV resin, you can of course you cure it first, because that's the main thing. And you can see how I'm covering here the little spots where, due to the warpage of the leaf, some areas did not get resin, and you can practically patch it and it will look just fine, no worries, because they are so transparent. And then once you come and put some veining on top, this is the 3D lacquer I was talking about, and see, that's a leaf that I already applied veining. You put in your a needle applicator. The only thing is, and I can tell you very honestly, after putting the veins on one side of the leaf, my hand was hurting, because that thing is quite viscous. So pressing, squeezing that bottle kind of puts a little bit of strain on your hand, but the results are gorgeous. So once everything is cured and dried and everything, you just drill some holes at the end of the leaf. And as for the beads, do the same thing. Start with a small bit and then just use a larger and larger bit. Yes, this hand drill works perfectly on resin. I think I told you many times it's the Mother brand, and I was able to actually drill crystals and gemstones. It's got diamond tipped bits, and it's one of the things that really made my life much easier, and my hands hurt much less, because you don't need a lot of force with it. Now once I have my holes, I am making a wrapped loop. Just be very careful as you work it, because you don't want to squeeze that edge of the leaf, because obviously you will be breaking it. It's not very thick. It is fairly sturdy, but not sturdy to the point of crushing it with pliers. Ideally, you need to have between 1 and 1.5 millimeters resin thickness there. Don't go thicker than that, because then your earrings will get way too heavy and they will lose that delicate look. So after I made my wrapped loop, I'm placing a small tiger's eye bead. You can place whatever bead you desire, ideally to be coordinated with the colors in the leaves. And then I'm going to make another wrapped loop eye. And the thing that you remember, I told you a lot of times, it's a little bit difficult for me to do all these things in the position my hands need to be in, so that I can tape it on the camera. The thing that you need to be very careful about is to make sure that the end of the wire there is very well tightened in, so it will not cause any kind of scratches or hair being caught there. Do the same, because I'm going to put 2 leaves on each side, on each earring. Do the same for both leaves, and then place a double coil jump ring and unite the 2 double coil jump rings. Now, of course, you can make the leaves smaller and place much more leaves on each earring. You can make them in tiered sizes. You can make just one big leaf, one long leaf. You can cut them in different shapes, and actually there are some maple shaped skeleton leaves. Anyway, I am attaching the ear wire to the loop that is on the shortest leaves bead loop. Then for the pendant, I am first attaching a leaf charm to a piece of chain and with a double coiled jump ring, and then I will be using a pinch bail to attach both the pendant leaf and the double coil jump ring that holds the chain with the charm. And just because it's so delicate, I am going to use an actual silver chain for it. The pinch bails I'm using are silver plated, so the whole thing will look very delicate and very elegant and very classy. And there you go, your own glass-like earrings and pendant jewelry set. And if you just found my channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on the little bell button underneath so you can be notified whenever I come online, I have a live or I upload a video. Don't forget to check my Facebook page as well as my website, because there are ways in which you can learn way more things, and you can also help me maintain my channel ad-free, and you can help me come up with more free tutorials for everybody. Happy claying!